The conference hall smelled like recycled air and overconfidence. Captain Vorn of the Galactic Safety Commission stood at the podium, his 3 eye stalks swiveling to survey the assembled delegates. 200 species, all gathered for the annual Death World Documentation Summit. And today? Today they were finally going to discuss Earth. Honored delegates, Vorn began, his translator implant humming. We have compiled extensive data on the human homeworld. What we discovered will, quite frankly, terrify you. A murmur rippled through the audience. Good. Fear kept people alive. Vorn tapped the holographic display, and the first image materialized. A coiled serpent, fangs bared, venom dripping. This, he announced with appropriate gravitas, is what humans call a snake. Specifically, the inland taipan. One bite contains enough neurotoxin to kill 230 adult humans. Death occurs within 45 minutes. Paralysis, hemorrhaging, complete systemic failure. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Someone in the back row fainted. Typical Glorbian, Vorn thought. Always overdramatic. But wait, he continued, really hitting his stride now. There is more. So much more. Click. A new image. Funnel web spider. 6 deaths per year before antivenom. Click. Box jellyfish. Cardiac arrest in minutes. Click. Saltwater crocodile. 3,000 pounds of bite force. Will literally rip you apart. The Zenthri ambassador was making a choking sound. The Plix delegation had already started drafting emergency quarantine protocols. This was going exactly as Vorn had planned. By the end of this presentation, Earth would be classified as Forbidden Territory Level 9, and his career would skyrocket. Now, Vorn said, pausing for dramatic effect, we managed to interview several humans about their experiences with these creatures. I must warn you, the footage is disturbing. He pulled up the first interview. A human male, approximately 60 standard years, wearing something called a flannel shirt and a hat that said Ranch Life. The name tag read, Dale Murphy, agricultural worker. Vorn let the video play. So, Mr. Murphy, the off-screen interviewer asked, how dangerous would you say Australian wildlife is? The human scratched his weathered face. Well, reckon it keeps you on your toes, don't it? Vorn paused the video. Note the casual tone. Humans have a psychological defense mechanism called understatement when confronting trauma. He resumed playback. Have you personally encountered any venomous creatures? Dale shrugged. A shrug, as if discussing something as mundane as weather patterns. Oh sure. Got bit by 3 of those inland taipans over the years. The conference hall erupted. Impossible, shrieked the Morthian High Chancellor, all 4 of his vocal sacs inflating at once. The data must be corrupted, insisted Dr. Quillix, frantically checking her datapad. Vorn held up a manipulator appendage for silence. I assure you, the translation is correct. We verified it 17 times. He said 3. 3 separate encounters with the most venomous land snake in the known universe. But how? Ambassador Trell's voice came out as barely a whisper. The mortality rate, the neurological damage, the complete organ failure? Watch. Vorn said grimly. The video continued. And you survived? The interviewer sounded incredulous. Good, Vorn thought. At least the human doing the interview had some sense. Well, yeah, Dale said, as if this was obvious. Got to the hospital each time. They gave me the anti-venom shots, pumped me full of that stuff, kept me a couple days for observation. Hurt like hell, mind you. Wouldn't recommend it. But you know how it is, you work the land, stuff happens. Stuff happens. Multiple delegates were now hyperventilating into emergency oxygen masks. There is more, Vorn announced, pulling up another file. We have a human female, age 52, name of Patricia Kowalski, marine biologist. The video showed a woman standing on a boat, ocean stretching behind her, completely relaxed despite being surrounded by what Vorn's database identified as great white sharks. Dr. Kowalski, you work with some of Earth's most dangerous ocean predators. Define dangerous, Patricia said, grinning. Actually grinning. I mean, yeah, sharks bite sometimes. Lost a finger to a bull shark in 2019. Completely my fault though, wasn't paying attention during feeding time. She held up her left hand. One finger was indeed missing. Got a cool prosthetic now, she continued cheerfully. And honestly, the sharks aren't what worry me. It is the box jellies you gotta watch for. Had a crew member brush against one last year. Poor guy screamed for 20 minutes straight before the pain meds kicked in. But he was back to work the next week. Tough kid. The Zinthri ambassador was openly weeping now. Vorn switched to the final interview. An older human, maybe 70 standard years, identified as Thomas Reeves, retired wildlife handler. Mr. Reeves, our records show you worked with venomous reptiles for 40 years. 43. Thomas corrected, smiling with what humans called pride. Handled everything from rattlesnakes to black mambas, king cobras, death adders, you name it. And you were never bitten? Thomas laughed. Actually laughed. Oh no, got tagged plenty of times. 8, maybe 9 serious bites? Lost count of the dry bites. Spent a lot of time in hospitals, I will tell you that. Nearly died twice, once from a crite, once from a coral snake. But that is the job, you know? You learn, you adapt, you get better at it. Vorn stopped the video and faced his audience. These are not soldiers, he said slowly. These are not specially trained operatives with genetic enhancements. These are ordinary human civilians who survive things that would kill any of us instantly and then return to the same activity that nearly killed them. Silence. Then someone in the middle row spoke up. It was Delegate Prax, known for asking uncomfortable questions. Captain Vorn, she said carefully, if these creatures are so deadly, why do humans continue to live alongside them? Why not exterminate them? Or at minimum relocate to safer regions? Vorn had been dreading this question. According to our research, he said slowly, humans consider these creatures part of the ecosystem and believe they have a right to exist. They have even developed something called conservation programs to protect them from extinction. Complete pandemonium. The recess did not help, if anything. The 15-minute break gave the delegates time to process what they had seen, which meant they returned to the conference hall even more agitated than before. Vorn watched them file back in, noticing how the Zinthri delegation now sat 3 rows farther from the holographic display, as if distance might protect them from the madness they were witnessing. Settle down, please, Vorn said, though he understood their distress. He had spent 6 months compiling this data, and it still gave him nightmares. We have more to cover. More? Squeaked Ambassador Trell. What could possibly be worse than humans casually surviving certain death and then protecting the creatures that nearly killed them? Vorn pulled up a new file, and the display showed a vast landscape of red dirt, scattered vegetation, and heat waves shimmering in the distance. This is a region humans call Australia. Population, approximately 26 million humans. It is essentially a continental death trap where everything, and I mean everything, is designed to kill you. He clicked through images rapidly. Spiders the size of dinner plates. Jellyfish that could stop your heart. Octopi carrying enough venom to kill 26 adult humans. Birds with claws that could disembowel you. Plants whose leaves cause pain so intense humans have been known to go insane from the agony. And yet, Vorn continued, humans live there voluntarily. They raise families there. They vacation there. Dr. Quillix raised a tentacle. Surely the human government provides extensive protection? Automated defense systems? Constant medical surveillance? No, Vorn said flatly. We interviewed a human child, age 9, from a rural Australian area. Let me show you. The video began. A small human with missing front teeth and dirt on her face smiled at the camera. Her name tag read, Emma Bailey, student. Hi there, Emma. Can you tell us about living in the outback? It is pretty cool, Emma said, swinging her legs. We got kangaroos in the backyard sometimes, and Dad says I can get a pet snake when I turn 10 if I keep my grades up. Vorn paused it. A pet snake. She wants a pet snake. He resumed. Do you ever worry about the dangerous animals? Emma tilted her head, thinking, well, you gotta check your shoes before you put them on, because sometimes redback spiders crawl in there. And you do not swim in the creek because of the crocs. And if you see a brown snake, you just back away slowly and tell an adult. But mostly it is fine. My brother Jake got bit by a funnel web last year, but he is okay now. Just had to go to hospital for a bit. The casual way she said, just had to go to hospital, made half the delegates reach for their medication. Is not anyone concerned about the children? Someone shouted from the back. Vorn pulled up another interview. This is Jake Bailey, age 12, Emma's brother. Recorded 3 months after his spider bite incident. The older human child appeared on screen, looking perfectly healthy. So Jake, Can you describe what happened when the spider bit you? Yeah, so I was moving some firewood with Dad, and I guess I disturbed a funnel web nest or something. Felt like someone jabbed a hot needle in my hand. Started feeling pretty sick real quick, like dizzy and sweaty. Dad saw the spider and immediately called the ambulance. He stayed super calm, which helped. Were you frightened? Jake shrugged. That gesture again. I mean, yeah, it hurt a lot, and I felt really bad. But Dad explained what was happening, and the paramedics got there fast. They gave me the anti-venom and monitored me. Doctor said I did good staying calm. Honestly, the worst part was missing my cricket match that weekend. He was more upset about missing a recreational game than nearly dying. Vorn switched to a split screen showing human children from various Earth locations. These are typical human juveniles engaged in what they call playing outside. Notice anything? The delegates leaned forward. The images showed children climbing trees without safety equipment, swimming in water with visible marine life, running barefoot through grass, exploring caves with minimal lighting. Where are the protective barriers? Asked Delegate Prax. The safety shields? The armed guardians? There are none, Vorn said. Humans call this building character and learning through experience. They believe it makes their children stronger. It is insane. The Morthian High Chancellor was on his feet, all 4 vocal sacs quivering. They are deliberately exposing their young to mortal danger. Actually, Vorn said, pulling up a statistical chart, human child mortality rates have decreased dramatically over the past century. They have developed something called safety education, where they teach their young to recognize and avoid dangers rather than shielding them completely. And it works. Somehow, it actually works. The chart showed declining death rates despite humans continuing to live in proximity to lethal wildlife. But how do they maintain psychological stability? Dr. Quillix asked, her scientific curiosity overriding her horror. Surely the constant threat of death causes severe anxiety disorders? Vorn pulled up another interview. This is Marcus Thompson, age 35, park ranger in a place called Yellowstone National Park. His job involves working in close proximity to massive predators called bears and bison. Marcus appeared on screen, standing near a hot spring with warning signs behind him. Mr. Thompson, do you ever feel afraid doing your job? Marcus considered this. Respectful, yeah? Afraid? Not really. You learn the animal behaviors, you understand their body language, you know when to keep your distance. Had a grizzly bear charge me once, that got the adrenaline going. But she was just doing a bluff charge, protecting her cubs. I stood my ground, talked calmly, and she backed off. No harm done. A bluff charge. Vorn repeated for the audience. Our analysis indicates grizzly bears can weigh up to 800 pounds and run at speeds of 35 miles per hour. They can decapitate prey with a single swipe of their claws. And this human stood his ground while one charged at him. There has to be an explanation, insisted Ambassador Trell. Genetic modification? Cybernetic enhancements? Military conditioning? None, Vorn said. We tested this hypothesis extensively. Standard humans, completely organic, no significant augmentation beyond corrective lenses and dental work. They are just like this naturally. He pulled up his final video for this section. This is Dr. Raymond Foster, age 68, herpetologist. He has spent his entire career studying venomous snakes. The elderly human appeared, surrounded by glass terrariums containing various serpents. He was smiling warmly, the way one might smile at beloved pets. Dr. Foster, you have dedicated your life to creatures that could kill you in minutes. What? The old man's eyes lit up. Because they are magnificent, are they not? Each species has evolved such elegant solutions to survival. The venom delivery systems alone are marvels of biological engineering. And they are so misunderstood. Most snakes want nothing to do with humans. They bite defensively when threatened. If you respect them, learn their behaviors, they are actually quite predictable and manageable. He reached into one terrarium and gently lifted out a snake that Vorn's database identified as a king cobra, one of the deadliest serpents on Earth. Several delegates fainted immediately. This is beautiful girl is Callie, Dr. Foster said, the cobra's head swaying near his face. Had her for 12 years now. She knows me, trusts me. Would I recommend everyone handle venomous snakes? Absolutely not. But with proper training and respect, we can coexist beautifully. The cobra's tongue flicked out, mere inches from the human's eye. Dr. Foster did not even flinch. Vorn stopped the video and faced his increasingly distressed audience. So to summarize this section, he said, humans not only survive their death world, they thrive on it. They teach their children to navigate it. They choose careers that put them in constant danger. And perhaps most disturbing, they feel affection for the creatures trying to kill them. The silence that followed was profound. Then Delegate Prax spoke again, her voice barely above a whisper. Captain Vorn, you mentioned this is only Section 2. What else could there possibly be? Vorn smiled grimly. Oh, we have not even gotten to their recreational activities yet. The conference hall smelled like fear now, mixed with whatever passed for sweat among 200 different species. Vorn rather enjoyed it. If these soft delegates thought the previous sections were disturbing, they were utterly unprepared for what came next. Let us discuss, Vorn began, pulling up a new series of images. How humans choose to spend their leisure time. The first image showed a human suspended thousands of feet in the air, attached to nothing but a fabric canopy. This is called parachuting. Humans willingly jump from aircraft at altitudes that would cause most species to experience fatal terror responses before even hitting the ground. Click. Next image. A human diving into water from a cliff face. Cliff diving. They launch themselves from heights that guarantee severe injury or death if they miscalculate the angle even slightly. Click. A human scaling a sheer rock face with minimal equipment. Free climbing. They ascend vertical surfaces using only their limbs, often without safety ropes. The Glorbian delegate made a strangled sound and collapsed again. No one bothered to help him up this time. But surely, Dr. Quillix interjected weakly. These are extreme examples? Rare individuals with aberrant risk-seeking psychology. I wish that were true, Vorn said, pulling up statistics. Approximately 43% of adult humans regularly engage in what they classify as adventure sports or extreme recreation. Let me show you an interview with a perfectly average human family. The video began. A human family stood together, 2 adults and 3 children, all wearing bright-colored clothing and helmets. The name tags read, The Martinez Family. Hello, Martinez family. Can you tell us about your vacation plans this year? The adult male, identified as Victor Martinez, grinned broadly. We are doing a 2-week trip through Costa Rica. Zip lining through the rainforest canopy, whitewater rafting, volcano hiking, and the kids are super excited about the wildlife tours. Volcano hiking. Vorn paused the video. They are taking their offspring to climb active geological hazards for entertainment. He resumed playback. Are you concerned about the dangers? The interviewer asked. The adult female, Lisa Martinez, laughed. I mean, you take reasonable precautions, right? We use certified tour operators. Everyone wears proper safety gear, and we follow the guide's instructions. Sure, there is some risk, but that is part of the experience. We want our kids to learn they are capable of more than they think. Their smallest child, maybe 6 years old, piped up. I want to see poison dart frogs. They are really pretty but also super deadly, which is cool. The child thought deadly amphibians were cool. Vorn let that sink in before continuing. Now, this family represents moderate risk-taking behavior. Let me show you the extreme end of the spectrum. New video. A human woman, age 29, identified as Kira Volkova, adventure athlete. She stood at the edge of what appeared to be a mountain peak, wind whipping her hair, a parachute pack strapped to her back. Kira, you are about to base jump from a height of 3,000 feet in what is known as a wingsuit. Can you explain why you do this? Kira's eyes sparkled with something Vorn's translator could only interpret as joy. You know that feeling when you are completely alive? Every sense heightened, every cell in your body firing? That is what this gives me. Yeah, it is dangerous. I have lost friends to this sport. But the alternative is sitting on a couch wondering what I could have done with my life. I would rather burn bright than fade away. She jumped. The video showed her flying. Actually flying through the air like some kind of organic aircraft, weaving between rock formations at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour before deploying her parachute and landing smoothly. She did that for fun, Vorn said flatly. Not for military training, not for scientific research, not for survival. For fun. Ambassador Trell was gripping his seat so hard the metal was bending. This is a species-wide death wish. There is no other explanation. Wait, Vorn said, holding up a manipulator. It gets stranger. Let me show you competitive human recreation. The screen filled with images in rapid succession. Humans punching each other in organized combat sports. Humans racing vehicles at lethal speeds. Humans intentionally running in front of large horned animals. Humans riding down mountains on narrow planks at breakneck velocity. They compete, Vorn explained, to see who can do dangerous things better than other humans. They keep score. They give out prizes. Millions of humans watch these competitions for entertainment. He pulled up footage of something called the Tour de France. This is a bicycle race covering over 2,000 miles through mountain terrain. Humans pedal these two-wheeled devices for 3 weeks straight, often crashing at high speeds, suffering broken bones and concussions, and then getting back on their bicycles to continue racing. The video showed a massive pile-up of cyclists, bodies and machines tangling together in a catastrophic crash. Vorn paused on a single human, bleeding from multiple abrasions, who simply got up, checked his bicycle, and kept racing. Notice, Vorn said, the other humans do not stop to express shock or concern. They go around him and continue competing. This is normal to them. Dr. Quillix was frantically taking notes. Fascinating. Horrifying, but fascinating. It is as if they have collectively agreed that near-death experiences are desirable. Exactly. Vorn pulled up another interview. This is Miguel Santos, age 47, marathon runner. Miguel appeared on screen, lean and weathered, stretching before what looked like a grueling race course. Miguel, you run ultramarathons in some of Earth's harshest environments. Death Valley, the Sahara Desert, Antarctic ice fields. What? Miguel finished his stretch and smiled. Because it is hard. Because most people think it is impossible. When you push past what your brain tells you is your limit and find there is more inside you. Man, that is better than any drug. Plus, the community is amazing. We are all out there suffering together, helping each other through the worst moments. You form bonds that last a lifetime. But you have collapsed from heat exhaustion, suffered severe frostbite, and once had to be airlifted out due to kidney failure, correct? Yeah, that Antarctic race was rough, Miguel admitted cheerfully. Took me a year to recover fully, but I learned so much about myself. And now I know what to watch for, how to prepare better. Planning to go back next year, actually. He was planning to return to the place that nearly killed him. Vorn switched to a compilation video. These are what humans call fail videos, recordings of recreational activities going wrong. Humans watch these for entertainment and education. The montage showed humans falling off bicycles, crashing skateboards, miscalculating jumps, and generally experiencing painful failures in their recreational pursuits. And here was the disturbing part. Most of them got up laughing. Note the laughter, Vorn pointed out. They find their own injuries amusing. We have psychological profiles suggesting this is a coping mechanism, but also potentially a form of social bonding. Humans share stories of their recreational injuries the way other species might share accomplishments. He pulled up one final interview. This is Travis Wright, age 53, surfer. Travis sat on a beach, ocean waves crashing behind him, a long board beside him. Travis, you surf in water containing great white sharks, one of Earth's apex predators. Does this concern you? Travis scratched his sun-bleached hair. I mean, sharks got to eat, right? We are in their home. Most surfers I know have seen sharks while out in the water. Some have been bumped or investigated. Yeah, attacks happen, but they are rare. You are more likely to die driving to the beach than from a shark bite. Can't let fear stop you from doing what you love. You were actually bitten by a shark 5 years ago. Is that correct? Yep, took a chunk out of my leg, Travis said, tapping his thigh. Needed about 200 stitches. Hurt like hell, long recovery. But you know what? I was back in the water 6 months later. That is my church, man. That is where I feel most alive. No shark is going to take that from me. Vorn stopped the video and faced his audience. So humans knowingly enter the territory of creatures that want to eat them, acknowledge the danger, sometimes get partially eaten, recover, and then return to the same location. Does anyone have a rational explanation for this behavior? Silence. Then Delegate Prax stood slowly. Captain Vorn, I believe I am beginning to understand. These humans do not have a death wish. They have something far more dangerous. They have a life wish so powerful it overrides their survival instincts. They crave experiences more than they fear death. Vorn nodded grimly. Precisely. Which brings us to our final section and the real reason I called this summit. We need to discuss what happens when humans leave their death world and encounter the rest of the galaxy. The delegates leaned forward despite their fear. Because if they do this to themselves for fun, Vorn said quietly, imagine what they will do when they find actual challenges out here among the stars. The atmosphere in the conference hall had shifted from panic to something darker, something that tasted like dread mixed with resignation. Vorn felt it too, that creeping understanding that they were not just documenting a strange species anymore. They were witnessing the arrival of something that would change everything. 17 days ago, Vorn began, his voice heavy. We received our first confirmed report of human presence beyond their solar system. A small exploration vessel, nothing fancy by our standards, but functional. They call it the Wayfinder. Crew of 8 humans. He pulled up an image of the ship. It looked cobbled together, almost primitive, but there was something about its design that suggested brutal efficiency over elegance. They encountered a Zinthri commercial freighter near the Kepler belt. Standard protocol dictates we should have escorted them back to Earth with a polite but firm explanation that they are not ready for galactic society. But something unexpected happened. The video feed showed the interior of the Zinthri freighter. Captain Nix, a respected veteran with 40 years of service, appeared on screen looking genuinely shaken. Captain Nix, please describe the encounter. Nix's translator crackled. We detected their vessel on approach. Small, primitive propulsion system, should have taken them decades to reach deep space with that technology. We hailed them, standard greeting, expected them to be confused or frightened. Instead, their captain responded immediately in our language. They learned your language. Not just learned it, they had studied 73 known galactic languages before leaving their system. Their captain, a female named Joanna Park, apologized for any protocol violations and asked if we needed assistance. Their ship was held together with what they called duct tape and optimism. Vorn paused the video. Humans apparently did not wait for first contact. They taught themselves our languages from intercepted communications, built their own faster-than-light drive through trial and error, and launched themselves into space with the assumption they would figure things out as they went. Dr. Quillix made a strangled sound. Trial and error? With faster-than-light technology? That could have destroyed their entire solar system. They knew that, Vorn said grimly. We found their safety briefings. They calculated a 17% chance of catastrophic failure on their first jump. They did it anyway. He resumed the video. What happened next, Captain Nix? We invited them aboard, proper diplomatic courtesy. They accepted immediately, no hesitation, no fear. 8 humans walked onto my ship like they owned the place. Not arrogant, just confident, comfortable. They asked questions about everything, took notes, examined our systems with this intense curiosity. My engineer, Plex, showed them our engine room, and one of the humans, a young male named Danny Kim, pointed out an inefficiency in our coolant system within 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And he was right. Vorn switched to footage from the Zinthri freighter security cameras. The humans moved through the alien vessel with easy grace, smiling, shaking appendages with species they had never encountered before, completely unfazed by beings that should have been terrifying to their limited experience. Notice their body language, Vorn pointed out. No defensive posturing, no fear responses. They treat first contact with alien species the way they might treat meeting new neighbors. The video showed Joanna Park sitting across from Captain Nix in the mess hall, eating something green that was definitely not human food. Captain Park, are you not concerned about potential toxicity? Nix asked, watching her eat. Joanna shrugged. That gesture again. We brought scanners, ran basic analysis. Probably fine. Might give me indigestion, but that is part of exploring, right? Can't know what works until you try it. She was using herself as a test subject for alien cuisine. Voluntarily. This continued for 6 hours, Vorn explained. The humans asked questions, learned everything they could, and offered suggestions for improving Zinthri systems based on their own unconventional approaches to engineering. Captain Nix reported feeling increasingly unsettled, not because the humans were threatening, but because they were so completely unintimidated by their first contact with alien civilization. He pulled up a different report. 4 days later, the Wayfinder encountered a Morthian patrol near an asteroid field marked as hazardous due to unstable gravitational anomalies. The Morthian captain warned them away. The humans thanked them politely and then flew directly into the hazard zone. What? Ambassador Trell demanded. What possible reason could they have? Because, and I quote from their ship logs, the readings look interesting and we want to collect some data. They wanted data badly enough to risk their lives for it. Vorn showed footage from the Wayfinder cockpit. The ship shook violently as it navigated between asteroids, alarms blaring, the crew laughing and whooping like children on a recreational ride. Did you see that spin? Danny Kim shouted over the noise. The gravitational torque is insane. I am getting amazing readings. Little tighter on the next pass. Joanna called back, grinning as she piloted through a gap that looked impossibly narrow. I want to see how close we can get to that fragment cluster. They were enjoying it. The Morthian patrol stood by, expecting to recover bodies, Vorn said quietly. Instead, the Wayfinder emerged intact with data on gravitational anomalies that our scientists have been trying to study safely for decades. The humans simply decided the risk was acceptable and went for it. He switched to the final report. 3 days ago, we received this transmission from the Outer Rim. It is what prompted this emergency summit. The video showed a distress call, not from humans, but from a Plix mining colony under attack by pirates. Standard rate. Nothing unusual, except for what happened next. The Wayfinder appeared on scanner logs, moving at speeds that should have torn the ship apart. Wayfinder to Plix colony, we see you are having some trouble down there. Want some help? The Plix colony administrator responded with confusion. Unknown vessel. This is a hostile situation. You should retreat to safe distance. We have sent for security forces, but they are hours away. Yeah, we figured. Joanna Park's voice came back. That is why we are here. Hang tight. We are coming in. The video switched to exterior cameras. The Wayfinder dove toward the colony, directly into weapons fire from 3 pirate vessels. It should have been suicide. Instead, the human ship danced. There was no other word for it. The Wayfinder moved like it was alive, spinning and weaving through weapons fire with precision that defied physics. And then it did something unprecedented. They rammed the first pirate ship, Vorn said, watching his audience gasp in horror. At full speed. Deliberately. Used their reinforced hull as a weapon. The pirate vessel was disabled instantly. The other 2 pirate ships, clearly shocked by this insane tactic, hesitated. That was their mistake. The Wayfinder spun and rammed the second ship. The 3rd pirate vessel fled. 8 humans in an exploration vessel defeated 3 pirate raiders using nothing but courage, improvisation, and complete disregard for conventional tactics, Vorn said. The Plix colony administrator said, and I have this recorded, they fought like their ship was worthless and their lives were expendable, but they flew like every maneuver mattered. I have never seen anything like it. He pulled up the post-battle interview. Joanna Park and her crew stood among the grateful Plix colonists, accepting thanks with embarrassed smiles. Captain Park, you risked your lives for people you had never met. What? Joanna looked genuinely confused by the question. Because they needed help? Look, we are new out here, we do not know all the rules yet. But where we come from, if someone is in trouble and you can help, you help. Pretty simple really. But you could have died. Yeah, probably. Joanna admitted with that casual tone humans used when discussing mortality. But we did not. And those miners are safe. That is what matters. Besides, Danny got some great combat telemetry data, so it is a win all around. They had treated life-threatening combat as a learning opportunity. Vorn turned to face his audience, all 3 eye stalks focusing on them with complete seriousness. So here is our situation, he said slowly. Humans have left their death world. They are friendly, helpful, curious, and completely without fear. They will fly into danger to help strangers. They treat first contact like a casual social event, and they view every life-threatening situation as an exciting challenge or learning experience. They are going to explore every dangerous place we have marked as forbidden. They are going to befriend every deadly species we have avoided. They are going to attempt things we consider impossible, and if their history is any indication, they are going to succeed at most of them. The silence was absolute. The question before this council, Vorn continued, is not whether humans are dangerous to us. They are clearly not hostile. The question is whether we are prepared for a species that considers our nightmare scenarios to be recreational opportunities. Because they are not going to stop. They are not going to slow down. They are not going to be cautious. He pulled up one final image. The Wayfinder, scarred and damaged, but still functional, heading deeper into unexplored space. On its hull, someone had painted words in English. "What does it say?" asked Delegate Prax. Vorn translated. "It says, 'Hold my beer, we are going in.'" "What does that mean?" Ambassador Trell asked. "According to our cultural database," Vorn said with something like resignation, "it is a human phrase indicating they are about to attempt something spectacularly dangerous and possibly stupid, and they are excited about it." He looked around the chamber at 200 species, all of whom had evolved on reasonable worlds with sensible dangers and logical approaches to survival. "Honored delegates," Vorn said quietly, "the humans are here. They are friendly, helpful, and absolutely insane by our standards. They are going to change everything. And honestly, after reviewing all this data, I think we should be grateful they like us. Because imagine if they did not." The conference hall erupted into chaos, but Vorn was already walking away. He had done his job. He had warned them. What the galaxy did with that warning was no longer his problem, though he suspected, with grim certainty, that within a generation humans would either be the galaxy's greatest heroes or they would accidentally give every other species collective heart attacks. Possibly both. Probably both. So what did you think? Did this story surprise you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this sci-fi story, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe for more mind-blowing science fiction stories every week. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.